Our story begins in a quiet rural village, where there's a solemn procession of mourners led by an older man carrying a box of ashes. All of them crying as it is the funeral of Yuki Numata, a young woman who was thought to have committed suicide. The man leading the procession is her father.
There goes the funeral procession for Numata's daughter.
What a pity. I heard it was a suicide.
First he loses his wife, then his daughter.
We've seen our fair share of funerals lately. There was that boy who died recently.
They found the body by the river. I think his name was Shigeru. Whatever happened with that? There was a huge ruckus about how he might have been murdered.
Beats me. At the local cemetery, each of them begins to weep and mourn. Not to mention the poor girl's father, who's utterly distraught.
Brother-in-law, we need to bury Yuki, otherwise she can't go to heaven.
But he continues to cry.
Yuki.
Several weeks later, a group of children are playing nearby, but perhaps to more interest is at the local cemetery. Two passerbyers can't help but notice.
He's here again today. It's been weeks since the funeral. I can't imagine his grief. What do you expect? She was his daughter.
But behind the two men is another young man carrying a bouquet of flowers. Simultaneously, that group of kids that have been playing stumble upon something strange.
Hey, check it out. What is that? You don't know? It's a scarecrow, you dweeb. A scarecrow? You put it up to scare birds and stuff out of your field. Let's go in for a closer look. No way, it's creepy. Don't be a wimp, it's just a scarecrow.
And so, the group of them decide to take a closer look. Back at the cemetery, the father is still in grief as the young man approaches him from behind. The father turns around, staring at the boy.
What do you want?
I've come to give these flowers to Yuki.
You've got some nerve showing up here, boy.
He grunts as he knocks the bouquet to the ground.
Yuki wouldn't have died if it weren't for you. You killed her.
But, Dad, if you hadn't opposed our marriage...
Shut up! I ain't your pappy. Now get!
I loved Yuki. I'm not leaving until I give her these flowers.
You sneaky varmint. Just you wait.
Yuki, it's me, Toshio. You didn't have to die. In that instant, he heard a sound from behind him. It was Yuki's father, carrying a scarecrow in hand. He slammed it into the ground. Today's horror manga dub and narration is Scarecrows by Junji Ito. I hope you all enjoy.
What are you doing? See this here scarecrow. It keeps varmints like you away. Now get, you lousy good-for-nothing.
Took one look at the scarecrow and then uttered, "I beg your pardon," and walked away down the pathway and away from the cemetery.
Hey,
what do you want?
You know what happened to the scarecrow that was standing here?
Beats me. The farmer looked over into the distance and then said,
"Would you look at that? How did it get all the way over there? Those damn kids and their pranks. What kind of rotten brat would put a scarecrow on someone's grave? My mistake. This isn't our scarecrow." "Oh, sorry about all this. I'm Numata. That scarecrow belongs to you, eh? I took it without asking. See, there was this little incident and... That's strange."
As they all looked up at the scarecrow, it had become completely different. It now had hair all around its scalp. Then, a tremendous wind picked up, causing the scarecrow's hair to blow in the wind. The father looked at the scarecrow with amazement.
"It's only been 4 days, but I can already see a change. Yuki, it's my Yuki."
And so, he was right. The scarecrow now looked uncannily similar to his dear, deceased daughter. He embraced the scarecrow's face, saying,
Yuki, do you recognize me? It's me, your father. Yuki, say something. Yuki, let's get you down from there. Yuki, say something, anything. Yuki.
That same day, a couple was visiting a grave. The woman was crying uncontrollably. "Let's go home, Setsuko. Your grief won't bring Shigeru back." But she continued to sob. "Come on now," the woman said to her husband. "Oh, darling, do you think it was really an accident? How could a child as careful as Shigeru drown in the river?" "Tell yourself it was an accident. It's easier to deal with it that way." The couple then noticed Yuki's father with the scarecrow in hand. The man stared at Yuki's father and then said, "Good day to you. I'm sorry you had to see us like this. Where are you heading with that scarecrow?"
"Oh, rude. This isn't a scarecrow. It's my daughter. I'm taking her home. See for yourself,"
he said, as he displayed her proudly. The couple looked at him in shock. How could he consider an inanimate object like a scarecrow to be his daughter? Then he marched away and uttered,
"You'll have to excuse us."
And just like that, Yuki's father was gone. Later that week,
"What about the graveyard? There's a scarecrow in it." "So what? Why all the hootenanny over a scarecrow?" "You'll understand when you see it. Come on, let's go check it out."
It would seem, now that the scarecrow had been in that cemetery so long, the village folk were talking. All of them were gathered around it. One of them even said,
"It sure looks like Numata's daughter, all right. Whoever made it did a good job. But why would you stick it in front of someone's grave?"
"Nobody made it. The scarecrow turned into it."
"What?"
"Oh, speak of the devil. Howdy, folks. My daughter's soul found itself a new home. Ain't it the spittin' image? If I didn't know any better, I'd say she was breathing. But she won't respond to me no matter what I say. I tried taking her back home, but she turned back into a scarecrow. Seems like she needs to be standing by her grave. I figured the least I could do was dress her in the clothes she used to like. Yuki, you're looking awfully purty."
And so, as all of the villagers noticed the incredible phenomenon, they too began to hang up scarecrows by their loved ones. And just like with Yuki, each one of them began to slowly change, growing hair and facial features similar to their deceased ones. Toshio soon arrived at the cemetery with another bouquet of flowers. What's with all the scarecrows? That was when he noticed a family talking to the scarecrow.
Mother, talk to me.
Say hello to your grandfather, kids.
It's come quite a way. It'll look like my brother in another 4 or 5 days. But how mysterious. You put up a scarecrow in front of someone's grave and it starts to look like them.
Yuki. He stared into her face and into her eyes. Then he uttered her name one more time. Yuki. It was as if her eyes were staring into his very soul. He sat there in utter silence until, in the distance, he heard,
Don't do it, Setsuko!
Let go of me!
Stop it! You don't think it's bizarre to put a scarecrow on someone's grave?
I'm doing it to bring Shigeru back. It's not like I'm the only one.
Even if it looks like him, it's still a scarecrow. Don't disillusion yourself.
I don't care if it's just a scarecrow. I want to see him again.
Doesn't it creep you out? Come on, scarecrows that look like dead people? And they're just standing there with those hollow faces. I can't understand the people who put them up.
That's because you're not his real father. Shigeru is my own flesh and blood. You're the one acting creepy.
I feel bad about Shigeru too.
Then let me do this.
Setsuko.
Why are you reacting like this? Do you have a reason why you don't want me to put it up?
A reason? What are you trying to say? If you're going to be like that, then go ahead and do it.
Without any hesitation, she planted the scarecrow into Shigeru's grave.
I've got nothing to be afraid of. It's not like they can talk.
Meanwhile, back of Toshio.
Yuki, you were alive the whole time. Yuki, let's get married. I don't care what your father says.
You mean it?
Of course I mean it. I'll never leave you again.
Even if I look like that?
As she pointed over to a scarecrow.
It was just a dream. Where am I? What was I doing sleeping in the graveyard? I was here in the afternoon, but I know I went home afterwards. Could I have come back without realizing it?
And as he looked over, it was as if Yuki's scarecrow was staring down at him.
Did you bring me here, Yuki?
The scarecrow seemed to stare at him.
That's impossible. You're just a scarecrow.
But then he began to hear all kinds of whispers.
What is this? Somebody help me!
He continued to run past all those scarecrows as if his life depended on it. And then He looked over. How did I? The next day.
Howdy, Mr. Numata.
Off to see your daughter?
Yup, it's getting to be a bit of a habit. Reckon it gets mighty cold at night, so I brought her a jacket.
I'm sure she'll appreciate it.
As he walked down the cemetery toward his daughter's grave, he noticed something.
Huh? What in tarnation? You alright there, honey?
He lifted the Scarecrow up and found Toshio underneath.
Don't tell me. He's a goner.
My goodness. Why is Shigiro making that awful face? He looks terrified.
Oh, how should I know? I told you it was a bad idea.
He's looking at you.
Don't be ridiculous. You're imagining things. See?
But it was true. It was as if the Scarecrow was looking right at him.
What did you do to Shigiro? His eyes are filled with hate.
That's impossible. I'm going to tear this thing right out of the ground.
What are you doing? Stop it!
Get out of my way!
Honey?
Her husband had been stabbed right in the chest by the pole of Shigeru.
I knew it! You killed Shigeru!
In an ironic turn of events, the Scarecrow of Shigeru was stabbed in the husband, as Yuki was on top of Toshio, and the rest of those Scarecrows, to this day, still stand in that cemetery. What about you? Would you place one of these at the grave of your loved one? Hey everyone! Thank you so much for watching. I'd like to take this time to give a very special thanks to my Patreons and YouTube members. Sarah De Jesus, Motosurf, Leo, Basin Animus, and Alleyway. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and remember, you're important and you matter. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.